Abuse is traumatic and life-altering. Women suffer broken bodies and wounded spirits. And worst of all, they often carry the pain deep inside, fearing rejection and shame. Stopping the silence is the first step in getting the help you need to recover after abuse. And the goal of this show is to give you the information you need to assist you along your pathways to healing.
Few people know that there are a variety of organizations already in St. Louis to help women transition from victim to survivor. In fact, the city of St. Louis has been especially proactive in providing services to help women heal after abuse. Since 1992, Circle of Safety has served as an umbrella organization for 45 other member organizations that are devoted to family, domestic, and sexual assault. In fact, I sat down and spoke with Deborah Norman, board president for Circle of Safety, to find out more about the services that they provide survivors right here in St. Louis.
Tell us, what is the Circle of Safety for people who don't know?
The Circle of Safety is a social service agency located in downtown St. Louis that is a walk-in resource center for victims of domestic violence.
Now, Circle of Safety actually was known as something prior to this, something a little different, so people might know it as something else.
That's correct. It used to be called the Family Justice Center, and we didn't feel that that name really reflected what we do for victims. And furthermore, the jail downtown is called the Justice Center, and often individuals were confused, individuals looking for the jail and coming to our center, and worse yet, victims who wanted to come and utilize our services, but were concerned that, it was part of the jail and that possibly the perpetrator would even be at the same site. So we wanted to reflect what we really do and change the name to Circle of Safety.
Circle of Safety, talk about the services.
Well, we have on-site partners and off-site partners who provide services, but also we have our own service coordinator that will sit down with victims when they first arrive and let them tell her what services the victim would like to receive in order to help them through this crisis.
So how are you able to, it seems like there are so many different services, and then you actually also, refer people to other various services as well outside the Circle of Safety.
That's correct. The model of Circle of Safety is to bring a number of services together to provide what the victim needs. So we have on-site partners such as the city police. We have 2 detectives from the domestic abuse response team who are on our site full-time who can meet with the victim if they want to pursue a legal course. We have a volunteer lawyer if they feel like they have legal issues or want to pursue a divorce. We have legal advocates who work with the victim to help them understand the legal system or to even work with them throughout the process. We have chaplains on call. The circuit attorney is on call. Child care is on the premise. So, it's just a number of services that we can bring together.
What do you think would happen if these services weren't offered through Circle of Safety? The alternative would be what?
The alternative is that a victim who is ready to seek help, ready to potentially determine what her options are, would have to go from one site to another, and often gets lost in doing that. And transportation can be an issue, time can be an issue, because they may have a very narrow window of time that it's safe to leave the environment to even understand what services might be available to them. But by coming to Circle of Safety, they can come one place and the services are there for them.
And their children as well. You mentioned the child care, which is key. And transportation, in addition to that, there's also accommodations to help women with the transportation as well.
That's correct.
Right.
One of the programs that we facilitate is transportation, and that can be transportation to the center, as well as transportation to get them to a safe place. And that safe place may even be out of town or out of the state. And it's something under, extraordinary circumstances. If a victim says, I just need to get to my mother in this place, we help her get there.
Speaking of that, then, what are, for those who are looking for a way out that may be watching now, what are some steps that you recommend that they start to take?
Well, I think first is to find someone to trust, to maybe open up, but that has to be a very trustworthy person to do that. But I think it helps reinforce that they are not alone in this process. And I think secondly would be, even if the victim is not ready to leave the environment or to take that first step, to start thinking about a safety plan and how they would be able to be safe. Because it often can't happen overnight, and we understand that.
It's important for the victim to think about a safety plan, but is some of the service involved at Circle of Safety to also help a victim think outside the box and try to formulate some of that plan too? Because maybe when you're in the moment, you don't know that maybe another door is open to you.
Yeah, I think it's important for the victim to understand that they are the one that's going to direct what their plan is. But I think by talking to a trusted person, that they can let them know what the options are in order to go that direction.
Okay, once somebody is ready to make that next step from going from a victim to being a survivor, what recommendations do you have as far as recovering and getting through the process?
Well, I think understanding they're not alone, understanding that there are individuals, agencies who will provide her the support that she needs to work through this process.
Wonderful. So speaking of that, we definitely want to make sure that we give the information for people who are looking to come to Circle of Safety, or maybe even, chances are very good that you may know somebody at some point, if not already, that may need these services. So how can we refer them to Circle of Safety?
Well, Circle of Safety is located 1139 Olive Street on the 6th floor, and as I said, it's a walk-in resource center, so they are free to walk in between the hours of 10 and 6 in order to receive that. And certainly they can call 314-241-0077 and talk to someone. And maybe that's the first step before the victim is willing to walk through the door.
Thank you, Deborah.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Now it's time for Ask the Expert part of our show, where our viewers send in a question to be answered by an expert. Today's question comes from Megan Patton in South City.
I've been a victim of an assault, but I'm afraid to contact the police. What should I do?
And that's an excellent question. Often victims have that question. Domestic violence, sexual assault, and elderly abuse can be devastating and traumatic experiences. Police officers are aware that victims may be apprehensive to report a crime, mainly because he or she may be afraid of retaliation from the perpetrator. And in domestic violence situations, the victim may reside with the batterer, and he or she is aware that the police are not always present to protect them from the perpetrator. The St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department has detectives assigned to the St. Louis Circle of Safety Center, where victims can walk in on a confidential basis and receive multiple resource services, all located in one place, making it easy and convenient to receive domestic violence assistance and initiate a crime report. There are lawyers, advocates, prosecutors, victim service professionals, and police officers all working together to offer the support to a victim while staying as safe as possible during the police reporting and prosecution process. I am a domestic violence investigator for St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department's Domestic Violence Unit, known as DART. I am assigned to the St. Louis Circle of Safety Center to assist victims with domestic violence and elderly abuse situations such as this one, where a victim may be afraid to report. If you or someone you know have been a victim of abuse, call the St. Louis Circle of Safety Center at 314-241-0077, or of course, if you are in immediate danger, always call 911.
You can stop the silence about abuse by telling a trusted friend or advisor about what has happened to you. If there is no one you trust with the information, then you still have options. You can call any of the local or national hotlines, which operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and are staffed by trained professionals. Safe Connections operates a 24-hour crisis line for victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. Call 314-531-2003 to talk to one of their trained volunteers about what is happening to you.
This tip has been brought to you by Every Step Counts and Circle of Safety. organizations dedicated to raising awareness about violent acts against women and children. Remember, when it comes to stopping the silence about abuse, every step counts.
Abuse can be a very devastating experience, as you might imagine, and can be very overwhelming and confusing for a victim about the uncertainty of their future. Oftentimes, the first step along the path to healing is just speaking up. Rashawn Bush is an abuse survivor who's done just that.
It's been, I almost don't even know how to describe it, because I think people, when they hear this story, they think that I am such a victim. And I have turned the victim into a survivor, because I'm not a victim. I have overcome tremendous amounts of just struggle. I have seen struggle before this situation. I've lived it, and now I said, I can't do this for my daughters.
Rashawn is a preschool teacher and a mother of 3.
Just being in a position where I can't feed my children, I can't take them where they'd have to go, I can't go to the emergency room if I need to because there is no car, or because the car that I have is taken from me. So at that point, that would be my lowest, where it's my children's needs aren't being met. If it was just me, it would just be me. But when it came to my children, it was someone else. And when it became someone else that I was responsible for, then I had to make I had to sit back and say, okay, this is not just affecting me. I am affecting other women to come. I could be starting a pattern that will never stop.
Rashawn suffered in silence for 12 years, and it wasn't until she reached out to her best friend that she found the strength to make a new life for herself and her daughters.
My girlfriend, her name is Tango Walker, she helped me out. And she is a strong, unbelievable person, and literally she gave me half of her strength, because without her, I literally don't think I would be sitting here, because she was the bridge that helped me cross over, truly. I think I kind of found my voice in this whole process. I kind of found who I really am. What I'm doing, I'm trying to get women who think that it's just a poor people's thing. Somebody has, at least one person that if they're not related to, that they actually know, that have gone through this situation.
Them that's God shall get.
In 2006, Rashawn was selected to participate in the first annual Walk in Her Shoes designer shoe fashion show, where she proudly walked the catwalk as a model and a survivor. And still to this day, she's working to help others.
I have refound myself, and I'm just kind of growing and hoping that I can grow and be a part of other women's lives, so that way they can see it's still hope, no matter what. There's still hope.
Rashawn is finding that by opening up and sharing her story with others, she's helping women and meeting people that she might not have met otherwise.
I met a woman, and I had to speak, and I gave a little bit of my story, and I know I would have never met her anywhere. Before, she literally did not speak to me. After she heard my story, she said, I'm glad to hear that, because my sister is going through the same situation, and I wish she could, have more courage like you.
When you suspect that someone's a victim of abuse, even if you don't know what to do or what to say, Rashawn says the best thing you can do is just to be a good listener, or to let that person know that you've noticed that they've changed and they're not themselves anymore.
Stay supportive, because that person's going to need you in every aspect. Stay supportive. If you have to just take them away from a situation for a couple of days, or whatever you can do, if it's just listening, just listen. Don't judge, don't critique, don't say, well, you should stop, he's getting, don't do that. That doesn't help. That actually makes it worse. The support is what will ultimately help them over the hump, because that's what helped me. My life is full of happiness and peace, Literally, I am happy, 100%. I am at peace. I feel like I am coming full circle. I'm proud of myself. Every time I look in the mirror, I'm like, woo, you did a good job, you did it.
That's all for this episode of Pathways to Healing. I'm your host, Ivy Hartman. Be sure to check your local listings for show times and to submit a question to our Ask the Expert segment, or to find out more about resources in your community, send an email to info@estepco.org. Or if you or someone you know is a victim of abuse, please don't hesitate to call 314-531-2003. Remember, you don't have to suffer alone. You have the power to stop the silence about abuse.